When factoring with no b term, we can factor using either the British method or the box method. But when I want to find factors of my a times c that add up to my b, that b term is going to add up to 0. So in number 1, I have x squared subtract 64. So I'm going to first start by doing this with the British method. So if I take my a term, which in this case is 1, and my c term, which is negative 64, and I multiply them, I get a negative 64. So I want two numbers that multiply to give me a negative 64 that add up to 0. So those two numbers would be positive 8 and negative 8, because 8 times a negative 8 is a negative 64, but 8 plus a negative 8 is 0. Now I'm going to put the a term with the x in front of each of these. So my a term is 1, so I'm going to have an x plus 8, and I'm going to have an x minus 8. Now I'm going to see, can I simplify either one? And I cannot, since I just have a 1 with the x. So my final answer is x plus 8 and x minus 8. Now I'm going to factor this using the box method. So I'm going to put my first term in my first box for x squared. My last term is negative 64, and I get negative 64 x squared when I multiply those two together. So now I need factors of a negative 64 that also add up to 0. Those two terms will be a positive 8x and a negative 8x. When I look at my three corners, so x squared, negative 64x squared, and negative 8x, they only share an x. So then x times what will give me x squared is a second x. X times what will give me a negative 8 is negative 8. And negative 8 times what is a negative 64. It would be a positive 8. So I'm going to crisscross for my answer, and I get x subtract 8 and x plus 8. Now if I look at number 2, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So the first thing you always want to do is make sure that the terms don't have anything in common. So I have a 9 and I have a 4, neither of which can be divided by the same number. So then I can just multiply my a term of 9 times my c term of negative 4. That's going to give me a negative 36. So now I need values of a negative 36 that add up to 0. Those two factors would be 6 and negative 6. Now I can take my a term with an x and put that in front of my 6's. So I'm going to have a 9x plus 6 and a 9x minus 6. I'm going to see if either one of these can simplify, and both of them can. 9 and 6 both can divide by 3. So I'm going to have a 3x plus 2 and a 3x minus 2. And that's going to be my final answer. Now we can factor this with the box method. So with the box method, my first term is 9x squared. My last term is negative 4. When I multiply 9x squared times negative 4, I get a negative 36x squared. I need factors of a negative 36 that are going to add up to 0. Positive 6x and a negative 6x. So if I look at my three corners, 9x squared, negative 36x squared, and 6x squared, they all share a 3 and an x. Because 9, negative 36, and negative 6 all divide by 3, and each term also has at least one x with it. So then I need to know 3x times what is a 9x squared. Well, I know 3 times 3 would give me 9, and x times an x will give me x squared. So 3x is my missing block. 3x times what will give me a negative 6x. be a negative 2. And negative 2 times what is a negative 4? Be a positive 2. I'm going to crisscross those for the answer as well. And I get 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2.